Hey guys, the book I read was Seed Folks by Paul Fishman. This book was really good. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Each chapter is a different story and a different narrator. Each person is from a different area, then they all moved to Cleveland, Ohio. It starts out by this one little Vietnamese girl, and she goes to this lot that's filled with trash, and she plants these beans. And she plants these beans to get closer to her dead father. And her thought process behind it was to have her father looking down and watching her grow, as well as these beans growing. And each chapter takes place in the same area, and it's really good. It's very well written. Some of my favorite characters would have to be Royce, who is the homeless teenager. He didn't have a place to stay, so he was sleeping in the garden, and he met Curtis, which is the person that helped out Royce. And Curtis said to Royce, like, hey, I need help. Like, somebody needs to watch the garden at night so nobody's stealing food. Would you mind watching it? And he gave Royce a pitchfork, and he gave him a pitchfork and new sleeping bag and some food. And Royce then began to look over the garden, as well as helping out the people that were in the garden. Another character that was really cool was Sam. He was a Jewish white man, is how they described him in the book. And he was an advocate for world peace, but then started focusing on bringing people together in the community in Cleveland, Ohio. And this garden was something that he wanted to do. He wanted to grow something in the garden. While he was growing stuff, he met multiple people, and it was really cool seeing what he has done for the community. He created a competition for 12 kids 12 years of age or younger, and he created this competition to have them get water to the lot so that the people can water their gardens. So that was really cool. He also started no littering campaign so that there was not more trash added to the lot. Another great character was Leona. She was the one that actually got all of the trash out of the garden spot or the lot. And she actually met this teenager who, how they described her in the book was pregnant Mexican teenager that would not be understood or appreciated without education behind her. And she didn't really want the baby, so she was saying, I want to get an abortion. She couldn't get an abortion, but she was hoping that the baby would die inside of her. But then Leona talked to her, and Marcela finally had hope for the baby and was excited to have the baby. Those are a couple characters that made this book an amazing book. But 10 out of 10 would recommend. So moving from that, my activities that I would do follows the theme of the book. So the theme of the book is that one person can change a community. And I feel like this is a great thing for students to learn. And this book really represents how the garden has brought the community together, and how the garden is our classroom, and we can bring the community together, and so can they, and how each person offers a different perspective in the community. So I had two different activities. The first one would be to have all the students in a circle, and maybe have 2 or 3 circles depending on the group size. And then they have to grab someone's hand on the opposite side, and they cannot grab they can't have both their hands locked with someone else's hands on the other side of the circle, and they can't have them holding one hand to the person that's right next to them. Those are the only 2 rules. The reason being is because then it creates a tanglement of arms and stuff, and it shows the students how working together you can untangle yourselves and you can get out of the problem. But if you're working alone, that maybe some problems are too hard to work alone. And then my second activity would be to have the students write a little paragraph of something that's been challenging to them. And in my classroom, I have students who parents have died, and to where problems are is they can't read. So they will write it, and it'll all be anonymous, and then they'll give it to me, and I'll create a document. And in that document, I will have everybody's like problem, and it'll just be like a sentence of their problem. It won't be like their writing. It'll all be typed. Once I have all that information, I will then put it to where each day we write a couple paragraphs. So it's a writing assignment, and they'll write a couple paragraphs to the person that's having the problem, and just like a sympathy letter, or like, hey, I've gone through that same thing. This is what I did. And it'll teach the students that other students are going through the same thing as you, as well as there's other students out there that have bigger problems than you. So it teaches you kind of about like yourself, and it teaches you about other people that are in your classroom, and it just builds a huge community. Now, following that, the article or thing that I chose to go with the book would be the song Lean on Me by Bill Withers. It's a great song. If you haven't heard it, I'm sorry. But definitely listen to it, and it totally ties in with the book. And it's the lyrics say like, lean on me because one day I'll need someone to lean on, and call me for like a friend, or call me to cry. And I think that song just goes really well, and it ties with the students on both sides, that students that are multicultural, it ties with them because they can feel welcome into a classroom, and it ties with the non-MLs because those students might not have the same experiences as other students, but yet they still have problems, and they could still work through them by talking with other students. And I think that activity will just be an amazing extra piece that these students get to listen to. And I think, personally, I love the song. It's such a great song. So I think like the students would love it, and it will be a good thing for our classroom, or for my classroom, is because I think community is something that helps your classroom. Like it's like an engine, like your classroom just run. It helps your classroom run by creating a welcoming environment, as well as creating a safe space to where students can talk about what they want to talk about. And it'll also develop healthy relationships and healthy activities that we do in the classroom, such as like conversations or group work. But yeah, Seed Folks is a great book. 10 out of 10 recommend. Go ahead and read it. Thank you.